Wednesdays with Sistah Scifi, where we Sistah Scifi Wind Down Wednesdays, where we work hard to make Wednesdays your new favorite day of the week. So if you are on our email list, you know that today's Sistah Scifi Wind Down Wednesday guest is Allison Mick, the author of Humboldt Cut, ecoterror debut author. So we're really excited. Hey, everyone who's joining. So as I transition to let Allison on, please drop your questions in the chat. I'm also on my desktop, so I'll be able to see all your questions and we can bring them into the conversation. Before we do that, please let me know how your week has been. My week has been like, I'm tired, but it's been really good. Been in the chat. If you're watching, take a second to share this live with your friends.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, okay, there you go. Because it was.
Oh, you didn't do me.
You look so cute. What is this backdrop?
Oh, it's a bunch
of. You look cute too. Yes, your glasses are fabulous. Your hair is wonderful. Nice look. I love it. I love it. And like, are these like your houseplants?
No, there's houseplants behind here, but this is my like Zoom backdrop of fake leaves.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, whoa, the green. I became
like the poison ivy's poison ivying.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, yes. So on theme for the book. Anyway, I became a plant mom, so it's kind of random. Anyway, how are you?
I'm good. I'm, hanging in there.
That's all we can do in these digital streets.
Exactly. How are you doing? You look adorable. I love everything. We both look much better than we did in the airport.
I don't know if I look much better, but you look phenomenally. You look phenomenal. You looked phenomenal in the airport. You look phenomenal today. So that's what I'll say. What's been the highlight of your week so far?
I've been very excited about this. I've been very excited about. I've just been working. I don't know.
I love it.
People have been texting me about the book and telling me that they like it, and it's it's hard. It's weird when you're having like a stressful work day, and then out of nowhere, someone's like, "I just finished the book. I loved it." I'm like, "Oh,
yes,
it's all worth it."
Yay. So I'll say this again. We are on live with Allison Mick. We are discussing Humboldt Cut. Look at that cover. So gorgeous. Everything has meaning. And it was brought by T.L. Hetchu. If you want to learn more, I'm dropping the link in the chat. Boom, it's in there because I can multitask like that, and also I set it up in advance. If you want to follow Sistah Scifi, Allison Mick, you can click that little white arrow right there and follow us. I sent you the questions in advance, so I'm going to just
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Float right in. Inspired by Janelle Monáe. So my first question is, you're also a comedy writer. And what I've learned recently is that horror writers are also sometimes the most bubbly, upbeat people. So I'm not surprised that you're a comedy writer. But how does your comedic background influence like the horror and the tone of Humboldt Cut?
I think that's a great question. I think that as a comedy writer, because I started in comedy and was doing that for 10 years before I even got into horror. Then I started getting like the inklings of the idea for this story, and Get Out came out, and it was like, oh, like there's so much that's possible in horror and comedy. They get really mad if you don't make people laugh, if you're trying to like talk about like the state of the world in a way that's like a little bit serious, and like it has its limits as like a didactic medium. Like it's hard to teach a new way of looking at things without like it. I mean, it's comedy. You get the people in the audience that are like, tell a joke. So comedy taught me that there's a time and a place for everything. And the place for comedy is the comedy stage, and the place to tell weird stories about trees that kill people is in a horror novel. And maybe not exactly on a comedy stage.
Right. That would be a hard set. I mean, if anybody could do it, it's you. But that would be a hard set.
Don't think I can try.
Yeah, and I'm glad you bring up Jordan Peele because it didn't occur to me when I asked. Jordan also has a comedic background.
Oh yeah, he's like, this horror thing is new for him because he's been in comedy for like decades and decades before that. But when the beats are the same. Like when you start getting into reading horror literature or watching horror movies, like especially slashers, like it's all gags. It's a setup punch. Like you build the tension, diffuse the tension. And it's so similar to joke writing. I think Jordan Peele has a quote about saying like the only difference between horror and comedy is the music.
Yes. Like, I'm here for it.
He's right. Papa Jordan is correct.
Yeah, you're trying to elicit a big response from the reader, and you definitely do that in Humboldt
Cut. So speaking of Jordan, you just
blurbs and so forth have described Humboldt Cut as Jordan Peele meets Jeff Vandermeer in the redwood forest. So what was the origin story? Like, where were the seeds, which is very apropos for the book?
The seeds of this forest. I was reading a nonfiction book called The Golden Spruce by John Valiant, and it's about this guy up in British Columbia who went missing in the forest like on purpose because he cut down this tree that's important to a lot of people, and they were all trying to kill him. And he's
like, I'm gonna disappear myself. Yes.
Yeah, he disappeared himself into the woods. He was like, oh, I'm just gonna take my kayak across the water to my court date, and then they just found the kayak crashed on the water on the rocks. It's a really interesting story, and like I love nonfiction because a lot of it doesn't read like nonfiction.
Yes.
Like it's not like a textbook. It's like a straight up story. It's just real and happened to real people. But there's this chapter about how dangerous the logging industry was, and that was the first time I'd ever heard that it's the most dangerous job in the world. The most deadly. And I was like, oh, I guess. And the whole chapter is just all the different ways loggers die in the woods. And I got my highlighter out. I was starting to highlight. I was like, this is going to be a good horror movie one day. Because just the stuff that happens in real life.
Yeah.
Before you even get to the forest monsters.
It was like also terrifying. I mean, the forest monsters add a whole nother level to it. But yes.
I wanted it to still be like entertaining and fun while still being like a critique of the way the world is and the way it treats Black women and the way it villainizes us. And like, if you go villain mode, like it's kind of the world's fault.
And that one. So that is
okay. So we're gonna
we'll come back to that.
Neil Bridge, let us know like what's not playing. You might want to close your Instagram app and reopen it. If you can't get it to work, like if you miss a part, the replay will be posted on YouTube.
Okay.
So we have questions about who's the villain, so hold that thought. So as we've been alluding to, Humboldt Cut weaves in eco horror with alternative history of logging, and you talked about the impetus of the idea for the story. What other research did you do?
Dude, I read so many fucking books for this. Because I didn't know anything about logging, and I was just like, oh, that's a crazy way to die. And I didn't know about like the skylines and like how they even got. I was like, oh yeah, they chop down trees, but then like after you chop down the tree, you still have to bring it down from the place in the forest that you cut it to the lumber mill.
Right.
And my experience with lumber mills was like driving past one that's off of the 101 in Humboldt County, and being like, oh, I wonder what goes on there. And it all started coming together, especially when you learn about the skylines. And like, there's these guys, like, it's vintage logging photos of guys posing with trees, like black and white. They're posing with trees. The tree is hanging from this like big cable wire. And growing up, my mom has that print of like the layout of a slave ship on our wall, and like seeing, like, knowing about, like, going to the lynching museum and, like, seeing the way that white people like to post a little photo of themselves with the thing they just killed, the person they just killed, the living, breathing thing that they just killed. I couldn't look at those vintage logging photos and not see that. And the more I researched, the more I saw that there's these, like, the way that, like, white supremacy is playing out in these extractive economies and also in socioeconomic, like, like, all of the, like, it's all the same thing insidiously playing itself out through every single facet of our lives.
Yeah.
And it's building this thing that we think is the world, but it's not. Like, the world is something that's not built by man.
Right. And I love everything you're saying, just kind of like in that first chapter, we have this character who's like part of the logging industry, and he starts off with, I really love these forests, and you're just like, wow, that's like has to be like some kind of dichotomy, but he
in the research, like, they're all talking about how much they love the forest, how it's provided for their family for generations, and it's like, okay, but that tree was 2,000 years old. It's not. That's not around for your kids or your kids' kids or anybody else, because now it's been turned into paper pulp.
Right. Yes. So, and I think it's definitely, and the level of research you've done definitely shows through in the details of the book.
Thank you. I'm such a nerd. Like, I hope so. I just want everyone to know how much work I did. No, I want it to be fun for people to read, but also, I know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I enjoyed that, because it's like, I'm not going to pick up the nonfiction, but I do like reading stories that I'm like, oh, I get to learn along the way. So
that's my favorite thing about reading too, is like learning a new thing in the midst of this story. Is like they bring you into the world and now you know a little bit more than you did.
Yes, in a fun, engaging way. So speaking about the forest is literally alive in several different ways in this book. It is literally a character. And you talked about the inspiration, this guy who goes into the woods in British Columbia, but why Northern California? Why Humboldt?
I started going up to Humboldt to do comedy. It's a small town, but it's like a small place, but there's a very, like, thriving comedy scene. And they have the Savage Henry Independent Times, which is a humor magazine that I first got my start in humor. Like, they gave me my first chance in humor writing. Was like writing some dumb, funny little thing for them. Okay. And I love going up there. And when I first moved to California, I'm from the East Coast, from like upstate New York. And when I came here, I was only meeting like city people of like beautiful, thin, like urbane, like people who know how to act. And then I'm from like a place where people get drunk and drive ATVs. And then I went up to Humboldt and I was like, this is where the townies are. Like, I'm a Great Lakes townie through and through. And that's the first place that I was like, oh, this is kind of like home. And the redwood forests cover a huge part of the West Coast, but I originally set the story in British Columbia, but I didn't have a passport, so I wasn't going to be able to get up there. I was like, oh, they got redwoods in Humboldt too, and I can go there whenever I want. It's just a 5.5-hour drive from Oakland. I'll just get up there, and all the rest of it sort of came together in that way, because it started with the trees, and the town around it was like, this is a place I can talk about with reverence and humor, while still I wanted to do justice for the people who that is their hometown. Right.
Yeah. So you were going to Humboldt for writing and shows, or how many times did you go to Humboldt to do research for the book?
To do research for the book twice.
Oh, wow.
But I had been up there probably once a year from 2013 until 2019. So I was going up every year to do comedy, to do stand-up. And my last like live stand-up comedy show was March 9th, 2020.
Oh, dang. You were
Yeah,
like,
it was a
already
great show.
talking
And I
about
was
it.
like, I can't wait to do more stand-up. This is great. I got all this research done. Oh, you guys hear about this COVID thing? That's probably not real. And then everything shut down. I was like, oh, guess I'm not doing
Like
stand-up.
March
And
9th is like shut down like the next week or something
the
like that.
next day, like it was 2 days later,
Yes.
everyone was like, it's real. It's happening. You can't go anywhere. Stay in your house. And I was like, oh, guess I got it right now. So
Right. The pandemic and shelter in place had many implications. That's a whole nother novel and story.
that's a different book.
Yeah. So speaking of before we get into the people characters, there's the forest, but then there's also the forest fires. So then my question is, because all the questions have been more development and craft, but like when I read it, it made me think of the forest fires in like Parable of the Sower, Canopy Keepers by Veronica G. Henry, which is less prevalent but still impactful. How did fires in other books inspire your work, if at all?
Not necessarily so much the fires in other books, but just the fact that they were being included. And like, I hadn't read Octavia Butler until 2020. And then I just like,
oh yeah,
it changed my whole world around. And like living in LA and being able to like go to Pasadena and go to the Huntington Museum where they have her archival papers. I go there every year for my birthday and go and look at her papers and like do my little research. And I'm like, yeah, because she's writing little notes to herself like, you can do it, you're going to be a best-selling author. And I'm like, thank you, Octavia. I know you're not talking to me, but it feels like you're talking to me. And it just like, there were a lot of journalism pieces around 2024, 2025. It's like, oh, Parable of the Sower called all of this. That's crazy, right?
Yes.
And they're talking about her taking the bus from downtown LA to Pasadena, going to the library and noticing just out the window of the bus how the landscape was changing, even in like the couple of years she was doing that. And I think moving to California from somewhere else, like people tend to be a little whatever about the forest fires and the earthquakes and all these things. And I'm like, aren't you guys going crazy about this? And they're like, nah, it just happens. Sometimes the sky is orange. I'm like, this isn't normal. And it tends to be like kind of a backdrop to a lot of people's lives. They're like, well, I got to go do this comedy set, even though the sky is orange. I'm like, what are we doing here? And it's that disconnect of like this thing that would have been a world, like it's a world-changing event for so many people who are close to the problem. But if you're not that close to the problem, you're just like, whatever, I got stuff to do.
Yeah. And especially in 2020, because I remember there were days where it felt like we're on Mars, right? Like the sky was so orange and so red. Kelly
but there's still people like, you still got to go to work. You still got to grind and get your paychecks. But it's that thing that this like world requires of us to like, there's these once in a lifetime events happening every week now, but you still got to go to work, and you're just sort of like grinding through the apocalypse. And this book was really meant to be like, hey, let's like stop and look around a little bit. Like, I know these trees have been the backdrop for, like, they're not just a backdrop, they're living things.
Yes.
Every plant around us is a living thing. And if you start to like widen your perspective of what intelligence and sentience could mean,
right,
that's pretty crazy, right?
And I think the book and the different characters, and particularly Jasmine, deal with that in a host of interesting ways. So now, I usually the questions are but now the questions are ordered somewhat thematically. So now we will talk about Jasmine. So Jasmine, for me, was a really complex protagonist because there goes parts of the book where we're in her internal dialogue, and then we also get to see how Jasmine moves in the world from other characters, particularly her brother,
Yeah.
and other characters, but particularly her brother. How was it hard for you to write from both Jasmine's internal dialogue and then also like an external view of her actions? Because they're very different.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, it feels sort of like punching down on a past version of myself. It's like I spent so much time, like so much of my life just like wanting to die all the time and just like thinking about it, like having those intrusive thoughts of just like, oh, fucking kill me, blah, 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 like, oh, kill yourself, like that constantly in your head and still having to keep moving. And like, even without the once in a lifetime weather events happening, just
Right.
dealing with that and trying to put one foot in front of the other and keep going is so hard. And I put a lot of that into Jasmine because that was what I was feeling. That was how I felt. But I also like can't ignore the effect that that has on other people, because when you're not there for yourself, you can't be there for other people either. And especially James, who has every reason in the world to be super mad at his sister, who is a psych nurse, wouldn't help him with the psych patient in his living room. And just, it's a lot of, like, that family stuff is always so hard because I had a family death from COVID of my grandmother and was writing the book during that and just sort of, like, dealing with, like, all of the feelings of, like, this woman was one thing to me, she was another thing to my mother, she was another thing to my sister, and how like all of these different facets of a person come together and you never really know them because you're not inside their head.
Yes. Yeah.
So Jasmine's seen in a lot of different ways by a lot of different people, but I still wanted the reader to empathize with her, and if they felt like they saw a little bit of her in themselves, to like be able to hold some empathy for themselves and for the ugliest parts of themselves and like the darkest thoughts that they're having. Like, you can feel this way and still come out on top no matter what happens. And like, there's still stuff to look forward to. There's reasons to live.
Yes. 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 It's a very, Humboldt Cult is a very, at the same time, dark and a certain commentary on extractivism, right?
Yeah.
And at the same time, very hopeful and optimistic book.
I wanted it to be like The Forest, a little bit of like full of everything. It's like, yeah, there's comedy, but there's horror and there's emotionality and the darkness and the light. Like, it's all there. It's like life and death, feeding life and death. All of that stuff exists in, like, that's the world. It's not fucking buildings. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So this is a very, there's a lot of nuance and complexity, and the question is very simple. So I hope that. So for you, is Jasmine the villain or is humanity the villain?
They're one and the same. Jasmine is, for me, Jasmine's a result. She's the product of the world that she came up in. And as much time as she spent in Humboldt, she spent equal amount of time in Oakland living her life and trying to survive in this world where, like, you look around and there's just, like, all of this stuff going on and no one's talking about it. And, like, the Sandra Bland, Breonna Taylor of it all, like, she sees these things happening and she knows they're not right. And when she brings it up, she's the bad guy somehow. And it's these, like, humanity has turned her into someone with this cognitive dissonance between feelings and actions and, like, what you say and what, like, she thinks one thing and says another. And she's trying to be someone who can exist in that world, and it's turning her into someone she doesn't like.
Right.
And
Right.
that's a result of the world of man. So when she comes back in the forest and is like, oh, there's another way to be. Maybe this is for me.
Yeah. Kelly says Jasmine Bay did nothing wrong in this.
In this essay, I will. Yeah. I mean, Jasmine didn't do anything other than what her life has programmed her to do.
Yes.
She doesn't know how to love without total control. She doesn't know how to be part of the world without feeling in control of it. And like, that's something that comes from the extractive nature of the society she lives in. She didn't learn that from the forest.
Yes. Agree. Agree. Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. So once again, we are in discussion with Allison Mick. We're discussing Humboldt Cut. Yes, I love the synchronization.
Every time you put yours up, I'll put mine up.
Yeah, we're totally in sync. If you want to learn more beyond this discussion, I'm dropping the link in the chat for you to peruse and check out. You can click this white arrow to follow Sistah Scifi and or Allison. Okay, so we talked about Jasmine. Let's talk about the creatures in the forest. These like humanoid monsters.
Bark scams. I love them. They're so gross.
doing the thing out there. Part of like the protectors of the forest that have moved from defensive to offensive. Yeah. What yeah, well, how are you hoping that the reader will interact with these beings?
I wanted the bark skins to be something that someone didn't expect to be in this book. And also something like, the point of this book is to make people afraid of the forest. And I hope I did that, but there's only so much trees can do. They can't move. And but the last time I was up in Humboldt, I noticed these burls on the bottoms of the trees, and it's just like this big, like cancerous looking blob of wood.
Oh, right.
And you start to look at it, and like it's gross and weird. And that was where the idea for the bark skins came from, of like, oh, what if that unfolded into a body and it climbed after you?
I really now wish I had, because I will never look at those things again. I'll be like, it's gonna, yeah. And I'm not.
And it's crazy. There's a huge industry up there in people poaching burls and selling. They'll cut them off, put them in the back of their truck, sell them for $50 a pound, and make $8,000 selling that stuff on Etsy. So they sell it to a woodworker.
Oh, wow. What is going?
But if you're walking through the woods and you see it, stay away.
Okay, yes, now I know to stay away. I'm not going to try to make money on Etsy because now I'm scared. So thank you. You've done.
You're scared? Perfect. My job is done. Turn this off.
Yeah. I mean, not that I had any inspiration to do that, but yes, at least with me, your work is 100% done. I also really love Jasmine's relationship to Tilly. And so my question is, who is the Tilly in your life? And yes.
I have a lot of Tillys in my life. I'm very lucky in that way. I have a sister that I'm a year and a half older than, and we've been like twins our entire life. We grew up together, like side by side. It was always Allison and Christina. And I also have a best friend that I've been best friends with since we were 7 years old. We're still best friends. We're spending our 40th birthdays together this year. And like 33 years of best friendship I have them. That's just the people from my hometown. I've lived in Boston. I've lived in Oakland. I live in LA now. That's like honestly the nicest thing that's come out of stand-up comedy is realizing how not unique I am because I go to a different town, like you travel around for comedy and meet the you from every single scene. And now I've got a friend in Boulder, Portland, Seattle, like Philly, everybody, like there's cool girls everywhere, cool angry girls everywhere, and I've been able to create this, or like build this support system of all my wonderful Tillies. And I'm just like so lucky that I get to have that kind of closeness with these people who, like, I think a lot of the world tries to like pit women against each other. And especially in comedy, it was like, oh, there's only one spot for a girl on a lineup with 8 white guys. And the girls are supposed to be mad at each other about that because someone else took your spot. And the Oakland comedy scene started to build this like women's scene, like what they call the ABCD, anything but cis dudes.
Oh, so, I love that.
It's fun, right? Yeah. Women and non-gender conforming and non-binary comics all getting together to uplift each other instead of fighting each other for the one spot on a showcase with 8 white guys. We're like, let's just have a show with 8 women of all different experiences and perspectives, and being able to find that sisterhood in comedy and also in my life with like my sister, with my sisters, my best friend and my little sister, always hanging out. It's just like, it's nice to have people that have been with you through every possible iteration of yourself.
Right. No, I love that. And also, the melanin does not crack, because I would have never guessed you just turned 40. So kudos to that.
It's half funny.
Then I love that the book ends with it was in the arc. I just want to double check that it's in the final. Yes, the book ends with discussion questions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And the first discussion question was, does this book make you want to go or not go to Humboldt? My answer is yes, but I would only go with Jasmine and Tilly. How did you think most readers would respond when you're writing the book, and has that answer changed now that the book is published?
About wanting to visit Humboldt, or just in general?
Wanting to visit Humboldt.
I hope that it makes people, I don't know, it's kind of a double-edged sword. It was kind of like, I want people to be so scared of the forest they never ever want to go. But it's mostly like, I don't want them to mess with it.
Yeah.
And part of the process of learning to respect the forest is going and seeing these trees and just like seeing it human scale, and you look up and you're just like, there's a tree should not be that large, but it is. And these are the small ones. These are the ones that are left after all of that logging. And the like Forest Service, like the tallest tree in the world, they don't let you know, or like they don't publish where that tree is because they think people are going to try and cut it down. So these trees are so big and so beautiful, and they should be protected. And if visiting Humboldt County makes people love them more, I'm all for it. And I'm all for Humboldt County having more entrees to their tourism industry besides weeded trees. So the bottom's going to fall out. Like, that's the thing about extractive industry. Like, the bottom falls out of it eventually. And if there's another reason to go and you got it from the book, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Just don't litter.
Don't litter.
Don't litter. Don't smoke. Don't
start forest fires. But yeah. No, I like that. I like that. A lot. And as like weed and trees, which also like we just refer to. Anyway, I like that.
Trees.
And that is, and I won't lie. When I think of Humboldt, I do think of weed. So this is inspiring me to go and see the redwoods.
There's more up there besides, there's also comedy. There's a little train that you can take through the forest. There's other stuff besides, like, there's weed too, and that's great. But, you know.
But I will go for the comedy and the train.
I hope you have a great time. Don't stay in the forest after dark.
And I will bring my copy in a sense. Jasmine and Tilly will be there to protect me because I am a little afraid of the forest now.
Good.
So you've done several events. So this is this is not on the, oh, wait. That was the second part. Can you read an excerpt?
Yes.
That was from the last question and I skipped it. Yeah, my bad.
The Tilly question? Yeah.
Yeah.
The Tilly friendship question?
Yes.
Yes. Sorry.
You're fine.
I'm reading a part from, this is from chapter 17, The Overlook. And they're looking down on Humboldt County. James and I used to come here a lot. Tilly stood on a huge stone overlook. Paint-tagged boulders perfectly framed a view of Humboldt County's emerald hills, limned by dense fog and the Pacific Ocean. Henry hadn't realized it was all so close together. He looked down the cliff, the bar, and the 101 were just a stone's throw away, but not a person's throw away. If you hoped to make it down in one piece, you'd need the 50 minutes of looping back road that they took up there. Yeah, that's usually how people get pregnant around here, Jasmine smirked. Eat me, Tilly replied. Eat yourself, you could use the calories, you skinny bitch. Why would I eat myself when you'd rather do it, you feral slut? Tilly shot back, making Jasmine blush and turn away. It always surprised Henry to hear women talk to their friends that way. He'd never heard Jasmine talk like that before. He'd also never seen her with friends before. Up until now, he wasn't sure she had any. So that's Jasmine and Tilly through Henry's POV.
Yeah.
Realizing the girl he has a crush on has friends, and she's a different person with her friends than she is with him.
Yeah. And yeah, Henry's POV. Henry's, particularly initially, romanticization of, what he wants to, was cute, and also, it was interesting. Anyway, you got to read the book. So, yeah, yeah, on that one, you got to read the book. Okay, so now the question I was teeing up to, and then I realized I hadn't. Thank you for that excerpt. Really enjoyed it. So, and then Kelly, if you want to elaborate on your statement, that would be great. And then I'll bring it to the conversation. So my last formal question for you before we transition into this or that is, you've gone to a couple author events now. The book has been out there in the world. So two-part, what's the favorite, your most favorite question you've been asked during the tour, or what's a question that you wish people were asking you?
Oh, that's a great question. The question that I enjoyed the most was at the launch party. My sister asked it, actually. She asked how I balance the more physical, violent body horror with the kind of internal cringe horror. Because there's a lot of both in the book. And coming from a comedy background, the scariest thing you can do is make a joke and then no one likes it. And that's just that sort of that hits so much harder than any monster. And I wanted to capture that as well, especially for someone like Jasmine, who kind of, her mouth goes before her brain does. And there's a lot of, I'm like that. All my friends are like that. And she's making her little jokes. Meanwhile, her best friend's husband / her own brother is missing, and she's not necessarily willing to engage with it on an emotional level and think about how this actually affects her. Mm-hmm. And I really wanted to it can't all be jump scares. It can't all be body horror, because then a reader gets used to that. So you know, ease into it, and that's what Jordan Peele does so well. Of you think it's going to be scary, and then it's a joke. Yay, we're okay. This is that. There's jokes, but there's also that sort of like someone making a joke and it really not going over well, and that hurt. Like, that's almost just as bad.
Yeah, that disconnect. Yeah,
The disconnect of like, because like making a joke is making a connection of like, hey, we're both in on this together, right? And then having the other person just go, no, stop it.
right.
That, for me, that's worse than any monster. For Jasmine, it's kind of 50-50.
Yeah, and that sense of isolation. Yeah, no, I like that. I like that.
It's a way to alienate the reader and make them stop in their tracks and go, oh, like, and the Goodreads readers, they're a special bunch. They've been talking about like the tone shifts and like they don't like the tone shift. I'm like, yeah, that's on purpose, buddy. Like, that's what
Yeah.
that's for. It's part of it.
Yeah, the Goodreads reader are a particular brand of readers, and the good
We
thing
love
is that they're a
them.
bunch
Thank
of
you so
readers.
much. Thank you, every 5-star reader. The rest of you could die in a fire. Don't give me 3 stars and then stay in the review that's 3.5. That's not how rounding works.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
I'm not getting into the Goodreads of it, but like that's a lot of it. But the questions that people ask have been really good, and I like full disclosure, I wrote the discussion questions in the back.
Oh,
So
because I was like, I wonder if Allison wrote them. I wonder if like
I'll peel back the veil a little bit. I wrote them. They make you write everything. I wrote them.
like
You think they're paying somebody else to do that? No.
And they're really good.
Thank you.
And it actually like I spent a
I
lot
come
of time
from a
with
long
people.
line of teachers, and I like if I was bumping up against comedy as a didactic medium, like I wanted this book to be something that you feel different when you come out of it. And if you don't feel different, like check out the questions and like maybe it'll make you like interrogate some of the like themes in there and like how the feelings, because like a book is, it's like an empathy machine. It's like bringing you into this person's world and taking you along on their journey. And for a lot of white readers, they have a hard time relating to Black female protagonists. Like the empathy calculus is against us.
Yeah.
And I wanted to create a book that was a character that like felt true to me, but also felt like someone that like challenged the empathy calculus a little bit.
Right. No, I agree with that. And the questions do like kind of force the reader to pause and dive deeper into it. So like one question.
Think about why you're thinking things the way you're thinking.
Yeah. Is Jasmine mentally ill? And I think that's a great pause. And like how did Jasmine and her behavior land to me as a reader?
Right.
How did the ending? That's a question in it. That's the last question. So Synchronized Book Hold Up. If you're just joining, we're in discussion with Allison Mick. We're discussing Humboldt Cut. I just keep saying cult.
That's okay.
Humboldt
They can read. They're good.
Humboldt Cut. And if you want to learn more, dang it, I closed it. The link is in the chat. So yeah, now we're going to move into my second favorite part of the live. My first favorite is everything we've been doing thus far, discussing your amazing book. And it's this or that. So I'll ask a question and respond rapid fire-ish. If you're in the chat, you're more than welcome to pop your answers in the chat and be a part of the conversation. So for the ands, they're inspired by the themes of Humboldt Cut. First one, redwood forest or mycelium network?
Mycelium network.
Ooh. Oh, tell us more.
I love, like, it goes back to Octavia Butler of, like, the human contradiction being hierarchy and intelligence. And for me, a mycelium network is intelligence minus hierarchy.
Oh,
It's like spreading a brain throughout the entire forest without any kind of like, this tree is better than that tree. Like, this one's big, this one's small, this one's the mommy, this one's the like little babies around the. There's none of that. The mycelium network is just like everything is cells, and I'm taking information,
And
nutrients, water, everything is going like it's all connected, but not in any kind of hierarchical way.
oh, okay.
But I guess they're kind of one and the same because a mycelium network lives under the redwood forest and connects it all. But
yeah,
they're one and the same, but also I like the brain of it.
Okay, I love that. So again, the question was this or that. There's a little bit of a delay, so by the time you drop your answers, if you're watching out there in Instagram land, we'll bring it back. Second one, survival or redemption?
Survival. Because I don't think you should. I have such a like bug up my ass about dichotomies in general, just because like being mixed race and white passing, people are like, you're one or the other, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm every woman. But like, survival. If you have a chance to survive another day, then redemption is always on the table. It like one of them like gives you the opportunity for the other, and like redemption, like I watch a lot of movies. A lot of people get redeemed and then die immediately. So
right.
I want like the most important thing is to survive.
Yeah.
And to keep going. And I don't want a bunch of people standing around my casket going, she was right. Like, I would rather be alive.
No, that's a valid point. Yeah, because and it's like, yeah, I think this is in our society where so much validation is drawn from public opinion, right? It's like sometimes redemption seems more powerful than survival, and
survival is a redemption of yourself. Like you're telling yourself that like it's okay that I exist in this world and continue to, and it's a redeeming action to continue to survive and believe that you're worthy of taking up space in this world.
Agreed. Campfire stories or forest silence?
Campfire stories. I love a good campfire story. I love like this book is one big campfire story, and the forest silence is so scary. I don't like that.
Agreed, especially the way you describe it in this book. Family loyalty or environmental justice?
Environmental justice. Some families are bad. And
and there's that one.
Maybe you don't want to be loyal to that.
And there's that.
And who's always on the right side of history? The trees. They're not problematic. They're my unproblematic faves.
Right. You're like, I wonder what, like, yes, be on the side of the trees. I love that. Yes.
People are fallible. People are imperfect and often wrong. And trees, they're not hurting nobody except for loggers. They got it coming.
Right. So be on the side of the trees. And our last this or that is ancient roots or new growth.
New growth. It comes down to it's a hope thing. And new growth. I'm also just like, I go on a lot of walks. I'm seeing all the new growth and like those like light green pine things at the end of like the regular tree. It's just like, it always makes me feel really hopeful, and like there's always a chance for renewal. Old roots, it's the same as like family loyalty. Like you can get so stuck in your ways and like loyal to something that has always been there for you. Like it's always been there. It's like traditions.
Yeah.
Just because it's always been happening doesn't make it great. And a lot that's generational trauma getting passed down, and old growth or the like old roots. It's a way to get stuck in your ways, and new growth is a way to like move towards the sun. And it's always a chance for possibility and hope and newness.
Yeah. Okay, I like it. I'm here for it.
Thank you. Good.
I mean, and also, it's a this or that. There's no wrong answer. It's, yeah. So, but I
Also,
appreciate
comedy.
And also,
all of it. I want them both. I want all of it.
Making people choose, while a fun and interesting exercise, is also problematic.
Choosing is so hard. That's why I wrote the long book instead of having short answers for anything.
Right. And I'm here for it. This was a blast. I'm glad I got to meet you at SFO. I'm glad we got to see Women of Afrofuturism together. Are you coming to the Bay Area Book Festival?
Yes, I am. I'll be moderating a panel with Richard. Yeah, I'll be up there May 30th and 31st.
I'll be there. So we will connect and do something during the Bay Area Book Festival.
This was so much fun, Isis. Thank you so much for having me. I love talking about this book. I love talking with you. This is the best of all of it. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. We'll have more conversations when you're up here in the Bay. Have a great evening, and we'll talk soon.
You too. Bye.
Bye.